Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Backyard Tabletop. My name is Jacob.
My name's Kurtis.
Hi, Curtis.
Kurtis.
It's Curtis. Sometimes we like to pronounce Curtis with a D, so it's Curtis.
Kurtis.
It's what we like to do sometimes here in the backyard. We hope you are doing well. Thank you so much for joining us. This is a podcast where Curtis and I like to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. That's what we do here, because that's the backyard tabletop. That's the tabletop.
Yeah, that's
part
the tabletop. The backyard is
Yeah.
just us, because we just hang out.
Us.
We used to hang out in our backyard.
This is just the casual hanging out in the backyard. Fall is coming up, my dude, and I am
so excited.
Actually, really excited.
So excited.
You know me. I'm a little bit more of a spring summer boy, but oh my gosh, here in Houston has just been. It's been awful, to say the least.
Yeah,
I am so ready for some that 50 to 7 degrees.
I was just gonna say I'm a 50 to 70 degree. That's where I live. That's where my heart is.
Yeah,
Always.
Is it already there?
Doesn't feel like it.
It's been hot all over the place. I'm
so looking forward to it.
I like to think that one day that this podcast is just slowly going to like descend into us being old men, and we just
talk about weather the whole time.
You think there's a podcast out there where that? Oh man, that's a great idea for a podcast.
Two old guys talking about the weather.
No one take that. I want to claim that when we retire, Curtis.
It'd be great for going to sleep too.
Oh heck yeah! Just talk about the weather. I love it.
It's like taking a nap. It's like taking a nap in the entryway while your grandpas are out front, talking on the porch,
sipping some like sweet tea.
Yeah,
yeah, I love it. Or coffee or whatever old people are into. Now. On this podcast, we like to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, particularly about our games that we're in. Curtis is in a game. I'm in a game. There were two best friends in two different games, and we like to just catch each other up on those games. Mm-hmm. But we used to do that at the end of the podcast. At the beginning of the podcast, we usually come forth with some sort of question to talk about along those lines, and really like what's been on my docket and Curtis's docket, and like probably like 99% of the D&D community has been on the Baldur's Gate like bandwagon.
Yeah,
that's all. Anytime I open up any social media now, it's just reels of Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, anytime I open Discord, it's like 6 people playing Baldur's Gate at any given time.
And anytime I open up Twitch, it's like most of the people I follow are all on Baldur's Gate.
Yeah,
it is like becoming the game of this generation. Like it's like, man, I can't remember the last time a game. I guess in my community, I know it's not necessarily like, well, it actually is like huge. It's like the number one selling game. And definitely played
pretty
game
close.
Currently.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's like
it crazily, like nothing hits the top of the charts of Steam's like this many people playing at once list. Like the ones that are always up there are like League of Legends, Dota, and what's the Counter-Strike?
Counter-Strike, and then PUBG, I think, is usually
PUBG. Up there. So Baldur's Gate was in like the top 10, which is like unheard of for an RPG.
Like opening.
For an RPG.
Especially on opening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really like, cool. And
it's pretty great.
Yeah. I absolutely adore it. And I'm currently in Act 3. Curtis you're like halfway through Act 2? 3 of 3, yeah. So I'm getting real close to endgame type stuff. Mm-hmm. And Curtis, like halfway through.
I'm a little over halfway. I'm honestly like, probably within the next 2 hours of gameplay, I'll be finishing Act 2. So
yeah,
pretty close to the end of Act 2.
And it's just now.
Jake,
for it. Go for it.
How many hours
Yes.
do you have in the game right now? On your last save.
Okay, so
how many hours have you been,
I know,
how many hours do you have on your saves?
Now I know I have left the game AFK, so I don't know how
Okay, sure.
How
For like
accurate it is.
6 hours?
I think I'm up. No, nothing like that. But
Sure.
I would probably say collectively might not be, maybe an hour altogether.
Yeah.
I'd have to look. I think I'm sitting around 60 or 70 hours.
Yeah. See, I'm at 60.
Maybe I might be at 50. I might take that. I might be around 50. But
see, this is the difference
this
between Jacob and Kurtis. Kurtis
Yes.
is barely getting to the end of Act 2.
Yeah.
And he's at a little over
I'm in
60
Act 3.
hours. And
Yeah.
Jacob is a bit of the way into Act 3,
Yeah.
and he has less hours than Kurtis does.
No, I am this type of person because I am surrounded by people like Kurtis. You are like this. A really good friend of ours, Jesse, is like that. My wife, Sarah, is very much like this. She is a completionist.
Yep.
And I'm here for it. I'm all for it. But am also of like, I like to experience things like as they come. Like I just kind of do things. I won't sit here and explore the whole map. If things kind of happen as I explore and the story continues, then I go for it. And I know that's not, but I also am a replayer. I love second, third times through the game.
Yeah.
But that's also me.
I will say
Kurtis
being
is not
being
like that.
being a completionist, it does make replayability a little more difficult. I think with this game that might be a little different because your choices change so much. I'll probably have at least 2 or 3 different style playthroughs in this game.
Yeah,
it's like I cannot move on until the entire map is no longer shaded. Cannot move on. Cannot.
Is this like a pact that you made? It's like
Yeah.
you like what happens if you do that? Like
I feel miserable. I feel like I missed so
really?
much. That's where that thing was gonna be. That thing that I don't know what is, but I wish I got. Like, it's so aggravating. Yeah, I gotta explore everything.
Yeah, no, and I'm totally here for it, and especially in like RPG games, and especially in a game like Baldur's Gate, you can find some really cool stuff. There are moments where I'll look over at Sarah's game, who's playing, and I'm like, "Whoa, that's really cool armor. Where'd you find that?" And she'll explain something that she went and found on the map, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, no, I didn't go there.
Never saw it," and it just kills me. I'm like, you're missing so much. There's so many other cool things that this game has to offer, and you're not taking advantage of them.
But
get your money's worth.
I am a replayer. That's kind of where my money's worth comes in.
I know for a fact that there are games we've both played, and you've played that game to death.
It's
over
true.
and over and over, like 5 or 6 different playthroughs. And I'm like, oh, why aren't you going and getting that thing? And you're like, didn't know it existed. I'm like, you've played this like 6 times. You've never walked over into that corner of the map over there? And you're like, no, didn't know you could get there.
I will admit that. Yeah. Man. This is also like, because I'm also one of those people that likes to play, like, I've replayed Dragon Age Origins so many times. I love that game.
Yeah, the Dragon Age games is mostly what I'm talking about. Like, I know for a fact you've played the Dragon Age games more than I have.
I really love that world, yeah.
And so I'm like, I know for a fact there's things I've done that you've just never done.
Yep, just
in the
haven't.
Dragon Age games. Yep.
That's so good because it's so true. It's just, no, that's so funny. I don't know why I'm this way.
No,
I play video games like I just like to casually play. I don't, and it's just,
you know what it is? Like, that's how I am with movies. You and I are opposites with movies and games. With
That's
movies,
fair.
you can't go into a movie and not analyze it. Like, you see things I don't see. Like, if you go into a movie and it's just a bad movie, you're not going to enjoy yourself. And I'm like, I go see Transformers and I'm like, that was fun. That was a good movie. That was pretty cool. And you're just like, ugh.
Oh.
You know? So, I get it.
It's like it was nice to look at.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's true. I guess we all have the things that we are very particular about. But yeah, Baldur's Gate has just been this, and I mean I will say, like, especially with playing early access and then like playing the Act 1 was really fun because I did kind of know what was present and available that I never went to in early access. But in this first playthrough, I definitely went and did those, right?
Yeah.
Like the swamp area, trying not to be too spoily. The Thay place where you can find like that mirror and stuff.
Yep.
That, like, those places I never went to, but I went through in this playthrough because I knew they were there. But now it's like getting into Act 2 and then the 3. I was like, oh my gosh. I think I also get overwhelmed sometimes, and so like focusing on a task and getting the thing done is also kind of a way I play.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I do too. Sometimes I log in and I'm like, I've got so much to do. like every once in a while I log in and I'm like, oh, I need to go look at what that is over there. I need to check this. I need to check that. There was that thing I saw over here. It was a locked door. I got to go back to that. Like, I keep like a mental catalog in my head of like all the things that I was like, ooh, okay, I'll check out that later. Let me continue down this way, you know?
That's so funny. That's so, see, and I just can't do that with video games. This is my time to just relax. And I'm like, I don't want to feel like I need to clock in for a job.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It's like, it's a game for me, and so if I go through the whole game feeling like I didn't experience it as much as I could, and I didn't experience as much as I could have, I feel like I have done a disservice to the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it feel like I would much rather get a little bit spoiled to look up a guide to make sure I'm doing the right thing to get to this place, or doing it right, so that I actually experience the ending of that particular thing. Like, I'd much rather do that. That gives me way more gratification than just like knowing that I got through the whole game and I never had to look at a guide or anything.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Like, it gives me way more gratification knowing I experienced as much as I could.
I get you. I feel like I'm that way with certain things, like with puzzles and stuff. I'm usually that way. It's like, I could sit here and figure this out, or that could take me 2 hours. Like, but I will say there are certain moments, like I have made sure to like not look up any romance like guides or anything like that, because I knew I wanted to experience that. And there are some really cool, genuine moments with romance. Like, like there's a moment where a character will like just start crying because of the events that happened. Mando, hi. Do you need to go outside? Okay, can you give me 2 seconds? So there are genuine moments that will happen where a character will have this really crazy moment and choices and heartfelt things. The voice acting is phenomenal. And on screen, that character started crying. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is really good. I'm not crying. You're crying. Like, it was, it's just,
the characters are really well written.
Very good. Yeah. Even Astarion is well written, Kurtis. I will say there are moments that I'm getting to now that I'm like, oh, he makes so much sense. Like, it's so,
okay, I don't know. He's well written, yes. I just don't like him.
But he's also one of the most funny NPCs.
He's very funny. He's so funny. I will say, I feel like there's moments that are even funnier with Astarion when you just hate each other. Like, when he's not on your good side, when he doesn't like you, he's just so petty and like just sarcastic with you. It's so funny. I love it. Like, don't get me wrong, he's a good character. I just don't like him.
No, I get you. And I'm just messing with you at this point because it really is fun. But yeah, like, is that where you're at? Does he hate your character?
He doesn't hate me, but he's the only one who's like he's the only one who's like towards the left in my whole camp. Everyone else is like middle to the right or full almost, basically. So
let me ask this, Kurtis, and then we can move on to your story time.
Okay.
Since you are like a little bit of a completionist, what is going to be your second playthrough?
My second playthrough is going to be a warlock and broken paladin multi-class.
Okay.
Broken Oath paladin. And I'm gonna play. I'll play the Dark Urge that time.
You're gonna embrace it.
Yeah,
you're gonna embrace it.
Yeah, and then I think
I've seen very little about it. So
if I ever do a third character, I might play through it as I don't know, as either maybe Shadowheart or Lae'zel.
Okay, go with an origin.
Yeah,
one.
I think that'd be very interesting.
I do want to do a Lae'zel origin story with her, just because that seems very cool. I don't know much about the Githyanki, and I just kind of like her character. Yeah. Also, I've seen some stuff about her romance that can actually be really wholesome, and I'm just like, wow.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite things is that like none of your companions would be considered like good.
Yeah.
They're all neutral or evil when you meet them.
Yeah.
Like there are no, I guess maybe Will would be the only one who starts out good.
I can see that.
Or at least of your main ones. I know that you get the druid later on and other stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's like all of your main ones that are like very heavily story influenced are either neutral or evil. They're all over the lawful chaotic spectrum. But
right.
But it's very interesting. I was kind of noticing that the other day. I'm like, there's no like we've got a cleric, but it's a cleric of a not great goddess.
Yeah.
And you know, we've got a wizard, but he's pretty selfish.
He wants to jump into some magic that's like, oh, buddy.
And then we've got a rogue that's like, at every turn is like, we should take every advantage we should get. Use this power. It would be awesome.
Yeah.
Not to mention he's a vampire. It's like, geez, like there's so much that it's like, wow, it's really cool. But it's really fun getting to see, like, that is one of my favorite things in RPGs where you get to like change the people around you and affect how they
big time
experience the world and what they think and that kind of stuff, and you get to kind of grow with them in that way.
Right, and
it's
honestly,
really fun.
Some of the most rewarding.
Seeing the effect
that's
you
the
have.
really cool thing about like D&D games. That's the most fun that I tend to have.
Yeah,
is like I come in like to the tabletop version and I'm like, this is my idea for my character, but seeing how the party shapes it, and so I think they captured that really well. I mean, that's what makes a good character too, is that they're a little bit fluid. They don't really aren't really on a set path. You know, you see them change, and that's what's really cool about Baldur's Gate is that depending on your choices and what you want from them, like, you know, Shadowheart could go this way or Shadowheart could go that way, and it's like two very, very different outcomes can happen to it.
Yeah.
Same with Lae'zel, same with Will. You know, it's very interesting. I know for me, my second playthrough is going to be I'm going to play with my wife. We have two characters we really want to play, that we had from the tabletop game that we're bringing into the game, and I want to go good, but embrace the tadpole.
Yes,
is the next one. I want to experiment because that's like there's
like a whole skill,
like there's a whole
tree.
leveling system. a whole leveling system with the tadpoles. So I really want to experience that, but I want to like come at it from a perspective of using this evil for good type of thing.
Yeah. Right now we're both in our gameplays like not using it at all, like shunning it, right?
Yeah. I've used it like twice, and I'm in
same.
Maybe a handful of times, and I'm in Act 3. So
yeah.
Very interesting. I want to play through it again, fully embracing it, and then I'm really on the fence about Dark Urge. I really want to play a Dark Urge, but try to resist it.
That seems like a really fun playthrough. Yeah.
Yeah. I know I saw there's an achievement or something of it was an article that someone fully embraced the Dark Urge and like almost murdered every NPC in the first act. I was just like, oh my gosh. I don't know if I'll be doing that anytime soon, but I really would love to, because it has been said that apparently that like if you want to feel like a hero, that can really make you feel like a hero to like try your best to like this is what your nature's
you're fighting your dark nature the whole time. Yeah.
So
it almost reminds me of like a Revan thing from KOTOR, like, oh, that's what I was. I have no idea what I was. Everyone says I was terrible, but I'm not anymore. Like, I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to do good. Shouldn't that mean something, you know? Very, very fun to do a playthrough like that. I just got to say, there's something I got to talk about, and it happens in Act 2. So
spoilers.
Spoiler alert. Big. Boo, boo, spoiler alert. Okay, for one boss that you fight in Act 2, one boss.
Yes.
Okay.
That people been warned. You can say names and stuff.
Yes. So in the House of Healing. You know, in Act 2. You know the surgeon or doctor that's in there. First of all of the Thorm family in Act 2, super cool, creepy, weird
very,
stuff.
Very cool.
But this guy, you go find him, and it's like Maladus Thorm or something like that. I don't remember his name. But he's
I know what you're saying.
He's like. He used to be the doctor, but all the Thorm family are like corrupted now and like just awful. And he's got all these like nurses that are like Silent Hill weird abominations.
Oh yeah, they're all undead and like dressing in nurse outfits and things like that.
And he's like a devout worshiper of Shar, even though he's like undead and stuff. It's really weird. And he's like made modifications to himself. His fingers are like metal instruments, and he's given himself like digitigrade legs, but by like breaking his leg and putting machinery in between it, because you can still see flesh in between machinery.
It's gross.
So crazy. But the whole time he's like trying to teach his like nurses about Shar, and that like doing surgery on people is like bringing them the darkness of Shar, and like you're supposed to bring it gently like she does into your embrace. I don't know if you knew this, Jake. Every Thorm that you fight, there's an alternative. You don't have to fight any of them. There's an alternative to defeat all of them. With him, you can catch a flaw in his like religion that he's preaching, and if you roll a good religion check, you roll this religion check and you're like, that seems a little off. This is something that Shar would have said, like, you're not supposed to practice her darkness on the unwilling, basically, is what you say.
Yes.
And
I do remember seeing this option,
And so you tell him that, and he's like, you know what you're talking about, and I guess you're right. What would you suggest? And you can give him a couple of options. One is to suggest that he teaches the sisters by enacting Shar's blessings on them. Or a much harder one is to suggest that he teaches the sisters by being their example and letting them work on him.
Yes.
So if you convince him of that, which is like a DC 25 persuasion check or something like that, 21.
Yeah, these were all pretty hard.
They were all really high DCs, but I had some inspiration.
Oh yeah.
I convinced him of that, and he's like, "You're right. Such a good idea. Wonderful. Why didn't I think of it myself?" Yes. And he pushes the body off of the operating table and lays down, and he's like, "Come, sisters, help me embrace Shar's darkness." And he just lays back. And dude, I literally like pushed away from my chair and was like, holy crap. Because I wasn't expecting this. This was the first guy I met here. First boss I met. And so I was thinking, oh, it'll distract him long enough for us to do a little extra damage or something like that.
Yeah.
Whatever. No, he lays down, and all of his sisters just start just shanking him over and over on the table, like reciting the words that he was telling them. Like in the creepiest, like the camera's panning all over and all this crazy
my
stuff.
gosh.
And I was just like, I like literally pushed back and was like, oh my God.
What did I just do?
I didn't know that was going to happen. And then it ends and he's dead. And all the sisters are like, wow, wonderful. I truly know her better. We've helped him embrace her darkness. And they just all walk away. And you're scot-free and you're good.
That's absolutely incredible.
Whoa, that's so cool.
Do you want to hear how I did that encounter?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I did, absolutely fantastic. Love that moment. I did the option where the sisters practice on each other, and they all start fighting each other.
That's what it was.
Stabbing each other, slashing each other, falling over. They all die. They all kill each other.
Okay.
And the dude is like, wonderful. They have learned the absence of life, or however it is, because that's how the whole nature of Shar. There's another option that you can do, and I can't remember exactly the dialogue, but it was basically saying that now you need to do the same thing in order to embrace the absence, or however it is. And he goes, yes, super high persuasion, but I'm a rogue with expertise in it, with some inspiration. And he like lifts up his hand, and one of his digits, which is a scalpel, goes shooting through his eye, and he falls.
Oh, jeez, dude. Yeah, see, like, super cool. Like, you just don't get stuff like that in other games. Like, you can convince them to maybe hurt themselves a little bit, or kill a couple of their underlings so that the fight's easier or something. Like. But, like, just straight up taking the boss out through conversation, like, that's so cool. I love it. And I did it with all the it with all the forms. It was very fun.
There was another one where you had to do like a drinking contest, right?
Yeah.
The bartender was hard. And
that was a lot of rolls.
that one was a little. Yeah, I was a rogue and was able to sleight of hand.
The rogue's way easier. Yeah.
But I know you might need some high constitution otherwise.
Well, but the persuasion checks are the hardest part because you have to do, I think, 2 persuasion checks, and they're both DC 21, and I don't have good persuasion.
So that all felt very D&D. It was basically like a DM going like, you know what, we're gonna do this encounter a like skill check. Encounter rather than combat. I mean, you totally could opt for combat if you want, but
I think what it's really like is like these guys aren't inherently hostile. They're bad, and you want them to die, but they're not going to fight you as soon as you walk in the room. So how are you going to go about it? You can get creative about it. You can just set bombs everywhere, like everybody on the internet is doing.
Yes, 100%.
You can
have one of your characters turn invisible to go steal stuff while you're talking to them.
You can distract them long enough to get rid of some of their subordinates. You can just straight up have them off themselves in some certain way, convince them to leave. Like, there's so many options, and it's so cool. Or you can just straight up walk in and fight them if you want to. If you want a bigger challenge. But all these bosses were like tough for fights. Like all of them had like over 200 health. Like, it was crazy.
Oh yeah, the hit points I'm finding at a lot of places. That's kind of how this game seems to be balancing. Like, there's just
the hit points
that
are
I'm
way
like,
higher.
That doesn't seem.
than
It's
in D&D.
like and which I think is something that D&D is kind of approaching as from a game master perspective. Usually, that's like the number one thing I'm doing is increasing hit points, because the power creep has really gotten to the point of, when 5e first came out, it was different, but it's now at the point where, like, it's not necessarily abnormal for your character of a 5 to 8th level to be doing 30-40 damage per turn type of thing. So it makes a lot of sense, and it's nice that Larian has been kind of with the times, if you will. Like, it's like, it's like they play D&D. Okay.
Yeah, super fun stuff. Really cool.
We would love to hear how your adventures are going in Baldur's Gate 3. What do you think of it? Kurtis and I are absolutely loving this game. We're having a great time.
It's been great.
I know eventually one of the playthroughs we're gonna play together.
Yes.
I know you've mentioned, like, you've played Baldur's Gate with
the
Friday Night Crew, and you said, like, that was some of the most fun you've had.
it just reminded me of like playing Minecraft with your friends, or just like the good old days of like playing Halo, like where 80% of the time is actually just spent screwing with each other. And then 20% of the time you're actually playing the game and getting stuff done. But like,
it's
for the most part, you're just pushing each other and stealing out of each other's packs and walking in the middle of people's conversations. So you're just standing face to face like this while they're in conversation. Like, it's so much fun. It's very fun with friends.
Oh, well, we may have to jump on that back.
I'm waiting for somebody, because people have already made mods to get rid of the companion limit, so you can just bring your whole party.
Yes, I have seen that.
I'm waiting for people to combine that with multiplayer, so that you can just have like 8 friends all in one game, just screwing everything. It'd be so much fun.
Oh man, you would conquer the axe so fast. But I also am like, I don't know how XP would be distributed that way. It's pretty great. Like, one of your players just go and kills all the hard bosses to get all the XP. Like,
yep.
Well, on that note, Kurtis.
Yes.
Would you like to jump into your story?
Yes.
What has been going on in Korvosa? You guys found a bunch of crazy. Lots of connections with the color red.
Yeah, lots of blood stuff going on. We found vampires where they shouldn't be. We've seen that Bloodvale is just awful in Old Korvosa. We've seen that apparently the Church of Asmodeus is taking blood donations for some reason. So things are crazy. Things are being weird.
I do remember that, and they were saying the blood donations are supposed to help the sick, correct? Or are they just?
We don't know.
Are they just?
We don't
saying,
know.
Oh, that's.
We just know
creepy.
they're taking blood
Okay.
donations. We don't know why.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, we don't
Good
know
to
yet.
know.
We don't know yet. I know, but we don't know yet. So, after dealing with these vampire folk, vampire spawn, I should say, and not knowing if their master is near or anything like that, we decide, well, okay, obviously that's what's been causing the weird problems here in this alleyway, in Racker's Alley, which is what we were sent here to look into anyway. So that's why the bodies are being dumped here. That's why, there's all these dead people here. I guess the bodies weren't being dumped. It was that they thought the bodies were being dumped because there was a big pile of corpses. But the pile of corpses was from
Wonderful.
the vampires. Had nothing to do with Bloodvale. So we call that good, square it away, decide we know what happened here. And there's a few other things we want to kind of explore while we're in Old Korvosa. The first one is that we know our friend, the swashbuckler friend that has helped us out a few times.
Ooh. The Zorro-like character.
Yeah, the Zorro. Well, no,
Yeah.
I mean,
Dread Pirate Roberts-like character.
who I'm pretty sure it is, but we don't know that it's him yet necessarily. But his home and school are in Old Korvosa, and so we decide let's just go check it out, see if he's there. You know, maybe he's just hiding out or something here, because he told us he was going to disappear for a while.
Okay.
So that's where we head first. We go to take a look at that, see what's going on there. We get there and it just looks abandoned since the day we left. We're kind of like, yeah, it wouldn't make much sense for him to hide in his own home. So we're like, yeah, he's probably not here. It looks empty. Not much going on there. So we leave there, and then there's one more thing that KO. Oh my god, I just did it. It's because my Baldur's Gate character is based off of KO, who was my last character.
Yes.
So I called him
have
KO.
One.
So Cal is
See,
like...
this is the problem with having all your characters named with K, Kurtis.
Exactly, yeah. Cal is like, I kind of want to go check out Eel's End. There might be people there that can help. You know, I want to see what's going on there. I want to see if they're as bad off as everyone else is. Because KO's thinking is like, yeah, this is bad, but, you know, nothing stops the underworld from churning. Like, you know, it'll keep going no matter what's going on. So there's probably people there that we can ask questions and stuff.
Perfect.
So we start heading that way. We make our way through more awful streets. Now we've got some corpses on the wheelbarrows to make it look like we're actually doing something. Or doing what we're supposed to do, I should say. Right.
Blending in.
Yeah, blending in.
Keeping your cover.
So we head that direction, and we get to Eel's End, and Cal is immediately proven wrong. It looks just as bad. Abandoned,
no. Okay.
Even. There's like no one there, which is...
Okay.
That never happens. There's no guards. There's no people wandering around. There's not even any like stragglers. It's just empty. Now, Eel's End, it was like the place for, in case people have forgotten, Eel's End was like the place to go to get your vices. It was like a little, it was like, it was a dock, and then around that dock were like 5 ships.
Yes, I remember that.
And so the 4 ships were like, one was like a casino, one was a drug den, one was a like brothel, and one was a tavern, I think.
Like a place for, I think, to like sleep off your stuff.
It's like the red light district, basically.
Yeah.
The drug den was like the place to sleep stuff off.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So, all of those are abandoned. There's nobody there. They look empty.
Very interesting.
We kind of pass by. There's nobody around. And weirdly, even the main ship all the way at the end, which was that was like the ship of the guy who owned Eel's End, who everybody calls like the Spider. So we're like, okay, well, he's still got to be here. We'll go talk to him real quick. We head over there, and it's like there's no guard. The door's wide open. And we head in, and it's just empty. There's nobody there.
Okay, well that's never a good sign. When
never a good sign. When even
the
like
criminals are not
when even
there.
the underworld bosses are just gone. You know. So we head in, and we kind of look around, and we head back into the room where we met him first. It's kind of like a little throne room place.
Yes, I remember when. Yeah,
and
those were the good old days, huh?
And we find him, dead.
Oh,
Now this guy was known as like the Spider King. The whole room's like filled with spider webs. He had spiders like crawling all over him. He like commanded spiders almost. It seemed like, or at least was like equal with them. You know what I mean? Like was friends with them.
Right.
However, we find him with fang marks and lacerations like all over his body. Not like vampire fang marks.
Okay.
Like different fang marks.
Like spider fang
like
marks?
Possibly spider fang marks. Except one of us does a medicine check and realizes that those are way too big to have been any of the spiders like we know of that were here.
Right.
Like big fang marks, like big.
Okay.
And so we're like, well, that's weird. I guess we should look around, maybe see what happened or see if there's anything we can make use of. Like, if it's just abandoned, he's probably got some cool stuff here we could take. So,
that's a fair point.
So we start heading down into like the bowels of the ship. And we come across the real reason Cal wanted to come.
Lovely.
Is the the shiver making room.
Okay.
And so Cal's like, oh, that's interesting. And just kind of like keeps walking, trying to like play it cool. And everyone's like, yeah, it sure is. We'll just ignore that. Yeah. So
poor Cal.
He takes note of it. He's like, okay, cool. Good to know. And then we keep walking through. It's still just abandoned down here. And we continue on into like a big office room that has like a big door on one side with a bunch of decoration on it. And we're just kind of exploring things. So we're opening doors, looking through stuff, checking things out. We open this one door on one end, and it opens into like a spider web tunnel. So like the door opens and it's just a tunnel of web that goes in, and it's just dark in there. And we're like, oh, okay. And so Cal in his head is like, oh, this is where because shiver is actually made by refining the venom, the toxin of a spider, a particular kind of spider. Dream spiders, they're called. Because they bite you and their toxin makes you fall asleep and you have great dreams while they are devouring you.
Devouring you. Yeah, lovely. Very, almost sci-fi.
Yeah. So Cal's like, oh, this is probably where their like dream spider stock is. But who knows? There might be something cool in there. So Cal's like, I'll walk in there. You know, I've got a good resistance to this stuff. It's not going to bother me. And he starts walking in because he knows that the webs contain a little bit of that toxin, but usually not enough to actually hurt you, just enough to give you like a euphoric kind of feeling.
Yeah. So real quick, is this knowledge that you had before, or is this like knowledge that you have message dipped about or have done like some sort of history check, or is this just...
I think at the start of this, I messaged him and was like, I feel like knowing who Cal is, he would have researched these creatures that make the substance he takes. Like, he would know about them.
Okay.
He would know how shiver is made. Like, he would know everything about it.
That's this intelligence shining through.
And Dip was like, yeah, absolutely. And so he was like, yeah, you know those webs can give you like at least a little bit of a fix until you can get your next bottle.
Little buzz.
Like a little, like basically like a holdover. And Cal's like, don't worry, guys, I'll check it out, and starts just wading through these webs, pushing in.
Oh, my gosh.
And everyone's like, isn't that kind of dangerous?
It's almost like Cal has a problem.
Aren't the spiders going to know you're there? And he's like, they're all gone. Look, there's nobody here. So he starts wading in, gets his little buzz, and Squish follows him and also gets it a little bit. And Squish is like, oh, okay.
Okay. Okay.
So they kind of push in there together, look around. There's no spiders. Nothing.
Okay.
It's empty. And weirdly, there's like, we know, Cal knows at least, dream spiders get big, but like dog size big. Not like giant spider size big. They get like small, maybe medium, like at most. But whatever like caused those like gashes and pierce marks in the guy was like big, like large. Okay. And so we're like, it can't have been just one of the spiders. Like something else must have gotten him. Like it's not like the spiders would just turn on him. Why would they just turn on him? It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And so we finish up in here. Nothing to find. There's not much around here, so we just kind of call it quits and leave. The whole time we're walking back through the shiver room, Kit is just like staring at Cal, just watching him to make sure.
Yeah, there you go. Big sister mode.
Yeah.
Love it.
And Cal's just like, no big deal. He just takes note. And then I'll tell you right now so I don't get lost about it later. Later that evening, he summons his familiar as a bird and says, hey, here's exactly where these bottles are. Go get some and bring them back.
Oh, my God. Wow.
Because there's no distance limit.
Cleverness.
There's no distance limit on your familiar. You lose contact with it, but it doesn't just disappear. So it can go fly as far as you want it to. You just tell
it knows your commands.
You tell it, go to Eel's End. I'll show you what it looks like. This is exactly where you want to go. Go find the bottles and come back. And Dip has me roll a perception check for my bird, and I think it brought back 2, because that was like all it could hold, or all it found. Anyway,
oh, poor Cal.
So that was great. But what we eventually learned from Dip, because he was like, there's no trail after this. Like, you guys are gonna live with this mystery forever. I'm just gonna let you know real quick. Like, your characters don't know this, but I want you guys to know because it's super cool. He tells us that... Shoot, hold on. Let me double check this real quick. I want to make sure I know the name of the creature. There it is. Okay, so Dip lets us know that here's what was going on there, because you'll never find out now.
That's really fun.
Yeah. The king of spiders, so-called, didn't actually have any sort of power over spiders or anything like that. He was just a dude who was good at making deals and really good at running things. Okay? So what he did was he made friends with what's called an ettercap.
Okay.
An ettercap, I'm sure Dip will put something up.
Yes, I do.
An ettercap is basically a humanoid spider creature. So it's upright on 2 legs, but it's got like the face of a spider, and it's got like fangs and stuff. Super creepy.
They're in Baldur's Gate 3, actually.
They are, I fought some.
Yeah.
Yes, there are some in Baldur's Gate 3. They're a little different in 5e. They don't have like huge claws or anything like that. I mean, they've got big claws, but not like big scythe claws. Like So he says he made a deal with an ettercap. He would provide it. So ettercaps are creatures that basically have like telepathic links with spiders. They can command spiders. And kind of make these little spider colonies with them. And so he was working with the Ettercap to basically have this little colony of these dream spiders to make as much shiver as he wanted, because this Ettercap was literally controlling. That's the most dangerous part and hardest part about making shiver, is milking
being able to
the spiders, getting the spiders and keeping them. And so he's like, well, I've got an Ettercap that can just talk to him and tell him, hey, it's time to come donate, So
that's so good.
However, when things started kind of shutting down and going bad, the Ettercap was kind of getting restless and was like, things aren't looking good. This place isn't looking great.
Oh, no.
And decides, you know what? I think this deal's over. I'm just going to leave. And attacks the King of Spiders, kills him. That's what killed him. And
oh my gosh,
brings the whole group of spiders with him and just leaves. Don't know where it went. Dip said we'll probably never see it. So it's just something that happened in the background. Like earlier, we could have, made some extra deals with the King of Spiders and like gotten a little more on his inside, on his good side, so that maybe he would have called us for help if something like this was happening or something like that. But since we didn't have much relations with him, we never even saw it happen. And we never would have seen it happen if Cal wasn't just like, hey, I want to go check out Eel's End real quick,
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Good.
So he just that Ettercap was just like, I'm kind of fed up. I don't want to get trapped here. Come on, my pretties, we're leaving, kind of a thing. So super cool, super creepy. But now learning that, understanding that, we're like, well, Old Korvosa's kind of screwed now. We should probably just leave. I don't think there's much else here for us to worry about. It's going downhill. We're not going to be able to get back in after this. Like, that's what they were saying. Yeah. As soon as we leave today, tomorrow it's just Queen's people in and out. Nobody else. So not even any volunteers are allowed in and out either. So we grab a couple more bodies and start leaving. We head out, and I think we decide, well, we should probably actually drop these off. So this is where it gets a little fuzzy for me. I think we went and dropped off the wheelbarrows at the Gray, and then basically after that kind of went back and delivered word and went home. And then that's where we kind of realized that we don't have many more leads, We know crazy stuff's going on, but here's our leads right now. Rolf Lamb is somewhere. He's the necromancer that's doing weird stuff. He's probably involved in this. There's a cult of Urgathoa somewhere that's doing stuff. They're probably connected. They're probably also connected with the Queen somehow. These Queen's physicians are probably also all connected in that. Cal is like, the Queen's physicians are for sure the cult just going around. That's Cal's mind. Because he's so convinced that the Queen is in control of all of this. Also, the Church of Asmodeus is taking blood for some reason, and now we have vampires. Like, big five right there. Lots of crazy stuff going on. And so we decide we've kind of got three roads. We can go check out the Queen's physicians a little more, and kind of get a better idea of what's going on with them, because they have like a clinic that you can go visit in the city. So that might be it. That's like their base of operations. So maybe we could go there, try and gather some information. We should go see what the weird stuff with Asmodeus is, what's going on there. We should go check that out, try and figure out why they're taking blood. What does that mean? That can't be good. And then we're like, what we could also do is go to the graveyard district, and just see. We know they're like fighting undead right now, so it's like maybe that's where Rolf Lamb is holed up. Maybe we can go back there and find him there. Those are our 3 avenues of gathering more information, and that's kind of all we have now to go on. I mean, I think we'll call it there. From this point on, there's a few more conversations, a few more things happen, but nothing that's like crazy or changes the information that we know. So I'll kind of skip ahead a little bit, I think, and just kind of next time we'll talk about what we do about those 3 situations, and trying to figure them out.
Which path you go, and because it seems like it's kind of up to you guys, which is kind of fun. A little sandboxing. You guys got to figure out what to do. Got to track down some information. Yeah.
So next time we'll go into a little more information gathering and talk about what we find. We'll see how it goes.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Kurtis, for taking me down story time.
Story time.
Thank you all. We know last time it was Kurtis, but we are getting to the point where Kurtis is getting a little behind, so we're making sure we keep Kurtis up with
a little.
Getting caught up and stuff like that, and bada bing, bada boom. But
I
don't know. Maybe at this point it'll just be a surprise on who's next. Tune in next time to figure it out. Thank you all so much for joining us. Again, we would absolutely love to hear about your games going on in Baldur's Gate 3, what you think of the game so far, and you probably keep spoilers down for
no spoilers in the comments.
Don't spoil the end game for us.
And if you do, put big spoiler headings on it. Yeah, I still don't have any idea about anything in Act 3. I haven't read ahead or anything, so
very cool. But yeah, and we'll get back to what's going on in our home games and whatnot. But yeah, on that note, I think the secret word of today,
what is it, Jake?
Is gonna be shh. No, we've already done shiver. I'm gonna say what was the name of those creatures? Ethercap. Ettercap. That's going to be the secret word today.
Ettercap.
Ettercap. That's going to be the special word for today.
Thank you guys so much for watching.
Thank you so much. I have been Jake.
I've been Kurtis.
We'll see you next time on the Backyard Tabletop.